mute yourself. Now, I'm going to show you a few things quickly. So I've already uploaded the first class on the YouTube channel, on the BIMWise YouTube channel. And if you guys have not subscribed to it yet, I would highly recommend you do, because I'm going to upload all the videos in here, and I will send link to people who have people who are attending the sessions. Now, what you have to do is, whatever email ID you're using to subscribe, let's say for me, my personal email ID is different than chetna.chauhan@bimwise.com. So I would use that email ID to subscribe or log into YouTube. If that's the email ID, drop in that email ID in the chat panel, because what I'm going to do is I am going to give those email IDs the access to the Revit lesson. So if you, this is my YouTube channel. I've already uploaded the first one. Okay, this says, yeah, it says, see, right now, because I have not given this email ID permission to view this video, so nobody can watch it. But in my personal, why is this saying, oh, let me just go here, switch account, I have to go. So if I go here, then now I can, because I'm the admin, so I can see the videos. You can also see other help videos in there. So if you go, you'll see other videos. We are like we've created a playlist that has AutoCAD and Revit comparison. Then we have Revit specific videos that we created. We have also started creating a playlist for Revit structures. So there are different tools in Revit. We do small how to do videos. If I just go here, I'm just going to show you one of this playlist that it has. So creating a curtain wall schedule, how to convert a CAD detail into Revit, cutting structural members, creating a workshed Revit model. So we have quite a few Revit videos in here. And then there are some webinars that I delivered in past that are specifically for BIM. So anybody who's planning to pursue BIM in future, these webinars will be really good if you want to, let's say, write to a university and get into a PG program. And this will give you more ideas about how to write your letter, what do you call it? SOP, I think you call it SOP. So, and then if you have any more questions, or even if, let's say, you have any feedback, you can leave it here, and I will see who it is. I try to respond it as soon as possible. We keep on adding new videos, at least 2 to 3 videos every week. And coming forward, we will also add Dynamo videos to it. So basically, Dynamo is a programming language designed specially for architects. It's visual programming. A lot of parametric design is done through Dynamo. I'm going to start a Dynamo tutorial soon. And I will let you guys know when we do that. I have your personal IDs also. I have your university IDs also. So we will do that. Let's start with today's lesson. So because we only have 2 hours, what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate, and we have a lot to cover today. Actually, we might go a little bit beyond 2 hours. So anybody who has to, you know, go, I would just suggest that whenever I upload the video on the YouTube channel, you should go, and at least everybody right now leave your email IDs in the chat box so that I can give you guys permissions to watch the private videos. So today we are actually, last week we should have covered the columns, but we'll cover columns today. So we did grids, we did levels. I'll tell you how to add columns. We'll do creating walls, do some adding some fixtures, a little bit of, we'll go into editing families in a project. We'll also talk about adding doors, adding rooms, adding a little bit of fixture in there, some furniture. So we'll do walls, some fixtures, some properties, all of that. So we have a lot to cover. I would suggest that if you have any question, keep on typing it in the chat box and I will take that at the end so that we do not break the flow of the work. Okay. Who's raising hand? Una, do you have a question?
No, sorry, it was raised before. I didn't
It's okay.
put it down.
No problem. No problem. Okay, let's start. So what we did last time was creating grids. So what we do is we go to the grids. I'm in level 1 right now. Let's go create grids. Okay, by the way, last time someone asked me about the orientation. So do you see these 4 points in here? These are my project north, project south, project east, and project west. Now, if I go here, right now my orientation is project north. If I go here and click true north and apply, nothing changes. Now, what is project north? Project north is something that is inside the project. That this is, for the sake of the project, I'm considering this is my north, this is my south, east, and west. But when we put coordinate systems into Revit, then it gets the actual coordinates. So how we do it, I don't know if you do it the same way. If you are given a project north, let's say north is 45 degrees, which is not going to be the case, but let's say it's 45 degrees. So what you actually do is you go inside Manage tab and you go to Coordinates. And you can actually rotate your true north in the direction. So let's say from here to 45 degrees. And so you rotated your north. So earlier this was my north here. Now this is my north. So if you have an angle, you could do it. And let's say I do not want to work on the on an angle. I can quickly go switch into project north and I can start working straight. And then when I go back to true north, my building will take up its actual orientation. Let's go back here. And let's go here, project north. Okay. Now what we'll do is I will quickly create, and the short form for grid is GR. So this is what I'm going to do. Now I want to add columns into it. So there are two types of columns in Revit, architectural columns and structural columns. And both of them have different properties. And why am I telling this to you is that I will show you that when we create schedules, and just in case you created architectural columns and you go to the schedule and select structural columns, it will show you 0 columns. I'll quickly show you. See this architectural column. I go here, column. It gives me the different column sizes. So right now, these are the steel columns that I have. I can go and I can add more columns into my project. Let's say this is not the column that I want. I will go load family. It will take me into the default family, the default out of the box families that Revit has. This is structural precast. Let's go to structural precast and Revit. Okay, no, this is not the one. Mounting profile, symbols, libraries. Columns. Wow, if this does not have any columns. Why is it showing me so many? Anyways, oh my God, this. They change this stuff all the time. Custom profile parts, Revit. Anyways, forget it. I'm going to use the columns that I have, and I have those columns in my own project. And okay, here we go. So here are my columns. Specialty, Revit sweeps, plan, pending review. 2018 does not have anything. 2019. Okay. Anyways, I cannot find one decent column in here. Okay, let's go with the one that we have. I will have to make peace with this. So let's say this is the column that we have. So this is the column. Now it is saying that none of the elements created are visible in the floor plan. And we will see why. Can anyone tell me why? Because we did do this last time. Okay, yes, Siddhant.
Because it's a grid, not a wall.
No, I'll tell you why. Okay, and no, version difference, no. Okay, so it is why a column is, or why any element is not visible in a particular view. There could be n number of reasons. First of all, what we should do is, if we do not find an element that we have placed, let's go and see if it's hidden. So you see, it's not hidden. That means it's not even here. Now I will go to 3D view, and the column is there. Then why can I not see it? Can somebody tell me now?
Crop window.
Pardon?
Crop window.
Crop window is a good guess.
Crop window, ma'am.
Crop window is a good guess, but it's not right. So if you guys have not noticed, we were in level 1. And when we are in level 1, we are actually looking, our eye level is somewhere here. And my column is below. So it's not looking beyond this level. Okay. If you are confused about if something is, you've placed something and you cannot see, quickly go and see that in 3D view. If it's visible in 3D view, that means there might be that it's not in the right level, it's not at the right location. Crop window is a good guess because sometimes your crop window is smaller and you've placed something outside the crop window and you've not seen it. And that's a good place to start. Let's go to level 1 again. Now, what I will do is I will actually delete this. Again, I'll go back to column. Now, let's look here. It says 1 rotate after placement. So if I check this, this will rotate after the placement. Now it says level. What level do I want to place it at? Now there are 2 options. Either it goes into depth or it goes into height. So when I placed it here, it went down. It went below the level. If I go height, then it will go above that level. Now, what I can do is I can also select the level it should go to, or I should say unconnected. If I select level 2, wherever my level 2 is, now you guys see there is a column in here. What I can also do is command escape. So command WT will give me 2 windows side by side so that I can see my 3D view and I can see my plan side by side. Again, column. If I want to rotate it after placement, I can. Right now it's height, level 2. If I go and place it right here, now my column is automatically, look here. It has started from level 1 and it is going all the way to level 2. But now this column we drew using column from architectural tab. If I go to structure tab and press column, now again, level 1, I go height, level 2. Okay, let's see. Let's go to this. Column. Now we also have a few options in here. We have a vertical column, number 1, which is like drawing a straight column like this. We have a slanted column like this. Here it's going to ask me the bottom, the top, and the angle. We'll go to that. And then if I say add grids, then it will go at all the grids. So let's look at all these 3 options. So vertical, like I said, it will be like here. If I say a slanted column, now it's asking me at first click, where should I place my column? And I say level 1. Now it's asking me height. And let's forget that for now. Second click, level 2. We'll go to 3D snapping. Now, if I go here, let's look at the 3D view, what's happening in there. Let's see what's happening in there. And I'm just randomly going to select anywhere. See, where did the column go? So I randomly selected somewhere. I can see it in the plan, but right now it has a slant. Now what I can also do is, if I look at the top, there are different things that I can do with this. But one thing I want to show you is rotation of the cross section. So how my top looks. So let's say I want to place my column at 45 degrees. I just go here and press 45 degrees so I can rotate my column. Now this is a slanted column and then this is a rotated column. Another thing that we'll do is go back to column, and right now, okay, wait, column, vertical column. Okay, can someone tell me when I click here and when I click here, something here changes? Can somebody tell me what changes? When I click on column, when I'm in my level view, like my plan view, there is something that's changing here to one if I'm in 3D view. So you know what is like the active view is the 3D view here, or if I click here, that's my active view. So something changes if you guys notice.
Add grid becomes unavailable in 3D.
Awesome. So what happens is because in 3D, we can see levels, but we cannot see the grid. That's why your Revit will not be able to locate add grid. So if I'm in the level plan and I go add grid and say finish, no columns were added during. Let's see what happened there. Okay, vertical columns or at grid. I want to see what's happening in there in this. Okay, let's select the grids. And finish. So it actually placed the columns exactly. So I'll tell you guys, why am I minimizing this time and again? Because I have a ribbon, a zoom ribbon here where when I cannot see stuff what's happening. So now I see this. Now I have columns exactly at the grids that I select. Okay, so these are three ways where we can place columns. So we have vertical columns, we have slanted columns, and we have columns at grids. We can also let me quickly show you. If I go select one of these columns, there's also something else that's changing in here. If you select in a 3D view, you select the column, you will see different kind of properties in here. And if you go in a plan view, you will see different properties for the column in here. Okay, that's an architectural column. Did it make all of them architectural columns? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys the difference. So if I go here to schedules in the project view, and I'm going to create a new schedule, and let's go to columns. Okay. And right now I just want count and height. Let's go count and let's go level. This level. Base level. Okay. So we don't see any columns in here. Now let's go create another schedule. And now I want to go and do structural columns. Okay. and count and okay. And you see, we see 6 columns in here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select one of this and delete. So you see how my level, my count gets deleted. If I delete this, it gets deleted. Let me go to level 1 and see which columns got deleted. So this got deleted and this got deleted. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go place a column in here and a column in here. Now let's go back and look at the schedules. What's happening in here? Wow, this is new. This is new, guys. Right now, even if I make an architectural column, it is not giving me. So, okay, let's go with this. I will have to find out what's happening in here because we created architectural columns, there should be a schedule in here. For those who do not understand what's happening, what we did was we created, out of the 6 columns, we created 4 as a structural columns and 2 as an architectural columns. Do you guys even know the difference between both? Does anybody know the difference between architectural column and structural columns?
Steel and concrete.
What?
Steel and concrete.
No. Okay, so architectural columns are basically the columns that are not load-bearing columns. These columns are the ones that are not there for the structural purposes. That can be for aesthetic purposes, or those could be the columns that surround the structural column. So let's say you have a main structural column. It can be precast, which you call concrete, or it could be steel, or it could be even wooden. But if it carries a load, then it's a structural column. If there is a casing around it, you beautify it, then it becomes, the outer side becomes an architectural column, or you've just placed a column for aesthetic purposes, for the design purposes. It's not meant to carry any load, then that is an architectural. So I will have to find out what happened in here, but let's move forward. Quickly, one thing I'm going to show you here is creating different type of families right within the project. So let's say right now I have this column, and what I want to do is I want to make different sizes of this. So what I will do is I will go to edit type. It will give me this dialog box in here. Now, if I want to edit this column, these are all your structural calculations that you have. You should never go and start editing them here. Like, you can edit here. It says board spacing. Okay, whose favorite subject is structures right now? Does anybody like structures? Just a raise of hands. My God, nobody likes structures? Okay, anyways, I used to love structures, although, we'll get into that later. But these are the properties that we can change. Within, we can change the weight per meter, we can change the dimensions of it, the bolt spacing, stuff like that, we can do it. I will also repeat this process when we do when we do walls. You always duplicate, and that's the best practice. Whenever you have to edit any family within Revit, you always duplicate it, you rename it. So let's say I'm going to name it column 1. Now I can make any changes that I want. Say for example, and see these all things are for structural analysis. So let's say for load calculations and stuff like that. When we do walls and when we do other families, I'll tell you that how different we can also go and add different layers and thermal insulations and stuff like that to it. So you can make whatever changes and press OK. And then right now, if this is my column 1, and you see here, there are 2 types of column. So there is UC 305 by 305 by 97, and then there are this column 1. So what I've done is I've created 2 types of families in the same family. So there are 2 types of families now. So there is a column 1 family, and then there was an out of the box one. And now this column 1, I can make any changes. I can do anything. I can change the material. I can change the phase that it was created. So what it'll do is it'll just make change in that particular column and not change your parent family. Believe me, you do not want to change the parent family, because eventually you'll run into a lot of troubles. The next thing that we are going to do is, I hate these columns. I'm going to delete them, and I'm going to start drawing some walls. So we'll go to the wall command, and you can navigate it through the ribbon, but you can also press WA and you will be in a wall command. So what we'll do here is we can select and draw a wall. That's one way to do it. The other way is you can go WA, and then you see this modify section in here. I will go and pick lines. Now, if I pick lines, see what it'll do. It'll pick lines. It will pick the lines, and it's creating walls. So if you see in the 3D view, it's creating walls along the lines that I have created. Now, this might be really useful when you're importing a CAD and you want to draw over it. So if you want to draw over a CAD, you can import, then you can start drawing over it. The next thing that you would want to do is, now when I did walls, this was a simple thing, but I also want to focus on this. So what level did I start with? What height? Right now it says unconnected, and the height here is 8,000 millimeters. But let's say I want my height to be till level 2. So now when I draw my wall, you would see what happens. And let's look at the elevation. I'm going to go to south elevation. And you see, this is the wall I earlier had, and this is the wall I just created. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this, and I'm going to close this, press WT. So now I have something like this. So we have a south elevation in here, we have a level 1 plan, and then we have a 3D view in here. So we can see. So we created a wall like this. If we created a wall like this, if I want to create a curvature, a curved wall, so it's the same way like we do it in AutoCAD. It's a 3-point wall, or it's a endpoint, and a center. There are elliptical walls. You go draw rectangles. You can draw a circle. So these are different modified tools that we can use. So let's say if I want to draw an arc. Now let's go to a floor plan. I have a start point, I have an end point, and then I have this. Now let's say I want to change the radius. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put this here. See this. Now let's say I want to change the radius. I do not like this radius. Let's say I want my radius to be 8,000 to be precise. I can change my radius. Now I'm going to ask one question and I'm going to see who answers this first. What are these dimensions called? I gave the name last.
Arc length.
Pardon?
Arc length.
No, there is a particular name in Revit for these kind of dimensions. Okay, these are called temporary dimensions. And why are they called temporary dimensions? Because as soon as I unselect the element that I had selected, the dimensions are gone. Plus these dimensions are used for creating, for modifying the elements. So if I go and say 9,000 here, so it's modifying my element. Now, if I go and click on this, what does it say? It says make this temporary dimension permanent. So now this is my permanent dimension. Daya is so smarter. He's answering after I am answering the question. Okay. Anyways, let's get back to this, and let's also, I'm going to show you one more quick thing. If I go to view and I say tile views, so there are two ways to go to tile views. One is WT, which means tile views as in keyboard, and then you can also go to view tab, and which is the stupid Zoom thing would not let me do it. So we go to view tab and then we go here to tile views, and we can go to tile views. Small things in Revit will make your life really easy. So right now we have, okay, did anybody notice we had a small warning right here when I was drawing, I had already drawn this and then I was drawing these walls. We had a warning. Did anybody try to read what that warning was? Anybody? You see this? There is one wall in here, and then there is also another wall in here. So one thing that I really like about Revit is that things that are not possible in real life, it gives you a warning that, see, you're doing this, I'm making this, but it's not, it's an error. So when I selected that whole grid and I created a wall over it, it's giving me a warning. And the warning it gave me was, let's go back to manage. And so somewhere here in the manage tab, you will see warnings. If you click on the warnings, you will see there are warnings that it's giving you. So it said highlighted walls overlap. One of them may be ignored when Revit finds room boundaries. Use cut geometry to embed one wall with another. So there might be situations where one wall is embedded into the other wall. Then you have to use a different command for it. But right now what it's telling me that two walls are being overlapped in the same situation. So what will happen is that when it creates schedules, it will double count it. Let's say you wanted some quantities, it will double count it. So it will give all of that stuff. Every now and then, I would say that every 2-3 days, please keep on checking the warnings. If you ignore these warnings for too long, you're in for a big problem in Revit. So we should be very, very careful when we are doing something like this. I will, again, now when I do this, watch this carefully. I will go to wall. I'm going to go pick line. I'm going to select grid. And right here, it's giving me the warning. All warnings are orange in color. And it says highlighted walls overlap. One of them may be ignored when Revit finds room. Use cut geometry to embed one wall within the other. So two walls, exactly same thickness, exactly same size, are not possible in real life. So it's giving you a logical error. Okay. Because we were still not out of the command, it drew another wall over it. I'm going to delete one. I'm going to delete another one. Okay. Again, I'm quickly going to show you. So this is my wall, which is a basic generic wall. Now I can give this wall the thickness that I want. I can give it a material that I want. But again, we do not change this particular wall. What we do is we go to edit type. So we are creating another type of wall. So first of all, let's see if we have more kind of walls. So we do have some preloaded walls in the template itself. So most of these walls are the ones that we see. The thing is that because Revit is developed by Autodesk, which is a North American company, they have created a lot of walls that are used in this part of the world. But you can always create your own walls from basic walls. So if you have a basic wall, it will give you the options of creating your own kind of wall. So let's go and see if we can create our choice of wall. So we'll click on the wall. We'll go to edit type. We will duplicate this. I will rename this. So let's say right now I want an 18 inches thick wall. Quickly give me an 18 mm conversion into that. "18 inches thick wall, how many mm?" Nice, 560. So it is actually 560, like the total finished. Just give me 1 second. Okay. But it's called 500 I think it's called 520 or something. Just give me 1 minute. Yeah, it's not in here, but it's called a 520 wall in this part of the world. But yeah, it's a 560. Finished thickness is 560. So I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to say brick. Let's say it's a brick wall, and it's 560 mm. So first of all, I rename it. Now let's see, I did not change the basic generic wall, or did I? Cancel, Control Z. Just in case if I'm not sure, I can always go back. I wasn't sure if I did the right thing. So edit type, duplicate, brick, 560 mm. Okay, now let's go to the preview. Now what we can do is we can edit the structure of this wall. So we can edit. Now there is a core of 200 mm. Like I named it 560, but still the thickness is 200 mm. So let's do the thickness 560. Now the core boundaries means this line. Now what I want to do is I want to add a layer of plaster in here and a layer of plaster in here, right? And then maybe also it will do is on the interior side, I want to add a layer of tiles. So what I would do is, you see this, the preview has changed. Now let's add more layers to it. So now I can insert, and I want to make it on the exterior side, but the function is not the structure, which is the core of it. The function is finish. So the finish is, and let's say, and the thickness, let's say the thickness is, let's test your building construction skills. Give me the thickness of plaster. Nice, 12 mm. And wraps means that as the wall will bend, the finish will bend with it. So let's say you'd put a wallpaper, or you'd put, wherever the wall bends, it will bend with it. So I will say, yeah, the plaster will bend with it. It's a structural material, yes or no? No. And then let's also on the interior side, I want to insert, but I would say down, 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 down. And I want this as another finish one, and 12. In fact, for, I think for, if you're putting tiles, it is going to be 20 mm for the plaster. And then I want to add another finish, and down, and this is going to be my finish 2. Right now, I'm just going to give another 12 mm for the tile. Now I can also assign the material to it. So let's say my finish 1 material, I can select in here, and let us give it what unassigned textile system, metal, no, concrete. Okay, it's they don't have a material for it, so let's just do cast in situ. This is not the right name, but let's just put it for the sake of it. We'll do again a cast in situ. Okay. And then let's put, okay, again, like I told you, you can add more materials by default because this template is following how construction is done in North America. They have all the materials that are used in here. So mostly we do not do brick walls here. So, and we do not do plaster over here. Here we do gypsum board walls, and then there are concrete block walls because, and it's because of the weather, it's because of different what's available. We do brick walls in India, but we do not do brick walls in here. So that's why they have materials accordingly. Let's add a layer of tiles. Ceramic tiles. Okay, so now you see that these ones, this has a little bit of concrete structure in there, and then this has tiles, and it wraps. I would say no, the tile does not wrap. And I press OK, and I press OK. Now, only because I did not edit the whole wall type, I just edited this. Now what I can do is, because I want all other walls to be, or some walls that I select, it's so easy to change them all. Either I can go here, right click, select all instances, entire project. So it selected all the walls that we created, and I just go here, and I will, whatever name I gave, brick 560 mm. So it changed all the walls. And let's say I did not want to do that. I just want this wall, this wall, this wall to be that. I just select those walls and I would go and make them. So you can do your selection. Unmolcom. Okay, guys, it's been ages. I've been working in millimeters. So, okay, I'm sorry for that. Whosoever gave 560, there, you get -1. I'm sorry about this, my bad. I should have known better, but yeah, it's 450 mm. Or whatever it is. I do not remember the conversion. But anyways, this is how we will do Revit. Also, when I'm doing this, and let's say in my floor plan, I want to see the details. Let's say I'm doing a detailed drawing and I want to see the detail. Right now, if you see, I'm here and my detail level is coarse. I can go here and say medium, and it will give me just a little bit of layer. If I go to fine, it'll give me all the layers, but now why I cannot see is because the thickness of this is really, like if I go here, I can see all of this. So there is this one command which says thin lines. So if I do thin lines, then the actual line thicknesses are gone. So this is how we will do walls. Any questions for walls? No questions? Should we move forward? Okay. Also, guys, if you have, could you give a quick review? Sure. So let's go ahead. I'm going to delete all these walls. select all instances, delete in the entire project, and I'm deleting all of this. And I select all of this, select project, and I delete them. You can just delete them by hitting the delete button. So walls in architecture, either we go in architecture and click on wall, or we just go WA and we are in the wall command. Now we have different sections. So as soon as you are in the wall command, and yeah, right here, as soon as we are in the wall command, look carefully. Wall, we have another tab that got activated, and this tab has almost all the functions that we use commonly in AutoCAD, which is mirror and copy and rotate and array, extend, trim, all of that. We will go, I'll while I'm reviewing, I'll also review this. I'll also show you what we do with this. So we can either go select the line and it will draw a straight line or a slanted line, or if I go pick line, and I pick the lines that I want to draw walls at, I will. Important thing to notice here is that when I select this wall, the base constraint is level 1, the top constraint is level 2. So we really don't have to mention the height of the wall. If that was not the case, if my top constraint was not level 2, if it was unconnected and I had given it a height of 9,000 millimeters, and I draw this wall, so it's not attaching itself to any kind of levels. Now we will go select the wall. We can go to edit type. We can add the structure. Okay, we have to duplicate first, rename to wall, whatever name you want to give, 1. Add the structure, add the thickness, oh sorry, material, add the thickness, 450 this time. Add the finishes. So go up means, so you see this is exterior, this is interior. So whatever category is beyond core boundary on the exterior side, that's your exterior side finish. You can select the function of that, and you will have, so you can create as many walls as you want. You can select as many walls and you can change the type. You can go select this a brick 560. Oh, you know, now while I'm talking to you guys, why is this 18 inches wall called 520? Because it's 465 the finished, and then there is thermal insulation, and then there is vapor barrier. So all that thickness. So how walls are constructed here in Canada, first of all, very rarely we have 18 inches wall. We have 18 inches concrete blocks. So yes, so they are called 520 because it's the studs and the concrete blocks, and then there is vapor barrier, and then there are thermal insulation. So all of that combined makes it a 520 wall. Let's come back to this. So we could select the wall, we can draw curve, go to wall, we can draw a start, we can give it a radius, and then I can draw the wall that I want. you will see that when I drew this wall, it did not draw itself over it. It just made this join here really nice. Now, if I go here, I can extend this wall like this. It will follow the curvature. If I want to select and get it to level 2, it will go down. Also, what it will do is, now I want to mirror this wall. So there are 2 commands in here. There is a pick axis, and then there is a draw axis. So, you know, mirror is always, we need to have a center line. So it's going to ask you a center line. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this right here, this right here. Now, let's mirror this. And pick axis means that I'm going to pick this grid and I want this to be rotated against this. So now we have axis. Now here we also have an option. Select, pick, and now if I uncheck copy and I select this, now it deleted the wall from this side. Now let's go and select this. Now if I draw my axis, my imaginary line or my mirror line, it mirrored. Similarly, this is copy, so I can select this. I can select this. I can select one of the sides and I can copy the wall. If I select this and I go copy, if I want more copies, I say multiple. Now I can make as many copies of, and this is common for all elements, furniture, walls, floors, lighting fixtures, anything, these commands will be there. So you will have copy, you will have mirror. One very interesting command right here is align. I love this command. So let's say I want to align this wall to this. So I'm going to delete this. What I want to do is I want to align this wall to this grid. So I'll select this wall. I'll go to align. It is asking me, where do I want to align? I want to align here. Now, either I can align this side or this side. Or I can also align the center. So let's say I want to align the center. I select this. It says element is reversed. So what it's telling me is that it has reversed the element. So I would say cancel. Let's go and align this to this. Element is reversed. Okay. So it aligned that side. Select. Now if I cannot offset this wall. I mean, okay, I go here, I can specify the offset distance. Let's say I want a wall at 3000 millimeters. I just select the side and it would offset on that side. The next thing that we would want to do is fillet. So fillet is my all-time favorite. So you can do fillet from here. You can, now if I want all of these walls to touch this, let's delete this. So if I want all these walls to touch here, I just go extend single element or multiple elements. So I select this, the side that I want, select, and I can go here. Now, if I go and I select this and this, and I'm going to extend these, let's say extend this, and I'm going to extend this. Now I want them to trim to here. So what I would do is, again, this is the same command. Extend, trim, I select this side. So I have to select the side I want to keep. So if I select this side, the other side will be deleted. So this is kind of reverse in what we do in AutoCAD. If I want to keep this side, I would select this side. Extend, I would select the wall. I want to keep this side, I select this side, I select this side. So these are, I would really want you to play with these, all these commands. Draw, I will give you exercise files and I will also email you what you have to do in that. Again, it's entirely up to you. If you practice, you will have questions for me. Take advantage of whatever I can tell you in these 8 weeks now after this. I will be available after that, but right now I've dedicated a time slot for you guys, and I can answer as many questions as you ask me. So try to do exercise files. What you can also do is, if there is anything that you want to me to look at in the same, you can also create a Dropbox sign in for free. And then you can send me the Dropbox link, then see, this is what I'm trying to do and I'm not trying to, I cannot do it. Or just send me a snapshot and I might be able to help you with that. So try to work on exercise files. The whole purpose of this whole session is that you guys get a hands-on training. 2 hours is not that big a time that I can give you like entire strata of what we have to do. So you have to put in a little bit of your own effort too. So you can copy, you can rotate. I'm selecting this, select this, and I can rotate the wall. It says unjoin elements, which means that it had created clean joints. It is just unjoining them. And I say, yes, elements are reversed, so delete them. So this is what it's doing. So it has done all ridiculous things that we architects love to do, which is creating slanting walls and weird shaped rooms. So this is everything about walls. Now one more thing I want to show you. While we were doing all of this, I want to freeze my layers. I do not want my layers to move. So what I will do is I would want to select all instances in the entire project, and I want to pin them. So if I pin them, then I cannot delete them, I cannot move them. Now when I select, this, it's giving me pinned objects were not deleted. So as soon as you create your grids, pin them. So that you do not delete them by mistake. Okay, these elevation markers are exactly the elevations that I have. So if I delete any one of these, let's say I delete this one, I'm actually deleting one of the elevations. Just see, the east elevation will be gone. It gives me view elevation, east will be deleted. Okay. So now I do not have an east side elevation. Now it's not end of the world. If you did delete it by mistake, you can Control Z, or if you are not able to go that back, maybe you deleted it, you can just go to View tab, elevation, and you can create an elevation right here. So right now, but it did not rename it to east, but you can name it here. So you can go here and you can rename it to east. Rename east. You can do that. All these things, again, I said I will upload this session somewhere by Tuesday on the YouTube channel, and then we can, if you have, you can go back to the same YouTube video and you can see. Anmol asked that how do we do equidistant grids? If Anmol, you remember last time when we did dimensions, I showed you something. So let's say I want to make these grids equidistant. We have a few ways how to do it. One of my favorite ways is that I dimension them, and then this equal mark, I uncheck it, remove constraints. So now these are equidistant grids. Again, I'll show you one more time. Actually, what I'll do is, so what we'll do is, I'll do more grids. So I'll do a grid here. I'll do a grid here. Now, what I should be doing is go to annotate and dimension, so aligned. Dimension all of them, select the dimension, uncheck and say remove distances. Now each one of them is equidistant. Okay, there are a few more ways that you can do it. We will cover as we move forward. There'll be a few more ways how you can do. There's an array command in there. You go and see what array command can do. It is very similar to array that we do it in AutoCAD. Now let's get to, let's draw some walls. Because I want to show two really important things in there. So I drew these walls. Let's draw one more grid line in here. So here we go. Okay, go to column. I'm doing vertical column at grids. I'm going to select all the grids, press enter. Select this, finish. So I have grids in there. Yeah, I have structural columns in there. Now let's add some doors and windows. And doors and windows is right here in the architecture tab. You have some preloaded doors. You can again go inside and change the size of the door. You can switch the type of the door. Let's go to 3D view and you will see that we have added some doors in there. We've added some doors in there. Go add a window. I would want to go to a level 1 plan and add a window in there. add a window right here, add a window right here. Again, I can select the door and I can change the size. So this is a shorter size. Let's say I do not like the size that I want is not in here. Then what I will do is I will go select, edit type, and I would duplicate this and I would say flush door 2, flush door 2. And now I'm okay with the width, height. I just want to change my width to 1050. Okay, so now I have flush door that's a bigger size. So you see how, and again in Windows, I have a sill height. I can change the sill height from here. I can change the head height right from here. I can switch the type. So there are a few type of windows. Let's say I want to put this window in here. So now I have this window, which kind of opens outside. So you see this thing in here, it is changing the direction of your window. Similarly, you will find this symbol even in doors. If you select the door, you see this is changing your swing side, and this is changing your panel direction. Swing side, panel direction. So this you will find in all the doors and windows, what side my panels are opening, what side is operable. So we did doors and windows. Again, you can go in there, you can create types, but one more thing that we can do in here that we could not do indoors, and that is we could not do that in walls. Now wall is also another family and door is also another family. Now this is very, very important, and this is very you have to be very careful. Listen this very carefully. There are two types of families. There are system families, and then there are loadable families or component families. Now, what are system families? System families are something that are built on site. Say my walls, floors, my roof slab, my staircase, something that's built on site is a system family. And I'll come to why there are two categorizations for this. And something that can come from the outside, it is not supposed to be built on site, is a loadable family or a component family. And why and what is and so let's say doors, windows, they can be manufactured outside and brought it in. Your furniture, all the equipment that's being used, all the anything, any entourage, any millwork, all that are component families. Now, what is the difference between two is that your system families, you can create different types in Revit, but you cannot create them from scratch. You cannot go and edit the family itself. You can create type of those families, the system families. Revit, Autodesk has reserved the right of creating a wall or a floor assembly. We call it a wall assembly or a floor assembly because it's not just one thing. It is assembly of various items. So a wall is not just a wall. In here, we do vapor barriers and thermal barriers and finishes and stuff like that. So that's called a wall assembly. So wall assembly, you cannot create from scratch. Whereas a loadable family, you can create from scratch, which means that if I go here, there's one, you'll see one difference. If I select door, I see a tab which says edit family. if I go on walls, I don't see anything like that. Why? Because if I go to, if I select the door family and I go edit family, I can actually go inside the door family and edit it. So this is the family environment. So remember the last lecture that we talked about, there are an RFA files, which are family files, and then there are RVT files that are project files, and then there are RTE files that are template files. So right now, if you notice, we are in an RFA file. Okay. And this is an RVT file because it's a project file. But when we go here in the door family itself, so it's like if you guys have worked in block, it's equivalent to block editor. Okay, so this is the major difference. Now there is one more difference, that if you go on the door, there is something called pick host. Now, there are hosted families. Even in component families, there are hosted families and there are unhosted families or independent families. Now, hosted families are the ones that need a host to be placed. Say, for example, in real life, can we just place the door? Or can we just place the window in air? We cannot, right? We need a wall to place a door in. Similarly, a ceiling light, a light fixture. Can we just hang it up in the air? We cannot. We need a ceiling to it. We need a host. So anything that requires a host, so your light fixtures, your ducts, something that needs something to hang on to or cannot exist without getting hung on to something. Those are hosted families. And independent families are like your furniture, your entourage, your anything that is movable. It does not require, like you can go place a door, a sofa set right in middle of the road. I mean, nobody would like it, but you can do it. But a door, can we place it? No, we cannot. So I would want you that do a little bit of research more on this. The more you'll get into this, you will understand it in a better way. So can anybody tell me, are columns system families or no? No answers. What do you think? Do you think columns are system families or no? So I really like Anmol's answer. They can be both, because yes, there are prefabricated columns. So they are system ones, but they are very unique system families. So you can go, if you go here, the biggest indicator of whether a family is a system family or no, if you click on that family and you see go edit family, and you can go inside and edit it from scratch, then it's a loadable family, or it's a independent family. But if you select that and you cannot do it from scratch, then it's a system family. So column is it's a hybrid of both. It is a system family because it can be created on site, but it's also a component family or a loadable family because you have prefabricated columns. I really like it. Okay, let's get back to our project. So we did insertion of doors and windows. Now let's place rooms. Now what I want to do is, let me just place more doors. Now what I want to do is, I created a few doors. Now what I can do is I can go right click and give it a command, create similar or CS. So when I give a command, now I can create the doors right there. Now, how Revit recognizes rooms is that we have to create rooms in the Revit. Now let's go to Architecture tab, select room. Now there is a purpose to creating room. Everything in Revit has a very specific purpose that why we do it. One, that it's asking me the upper limit. It's asking me the base offset, and it's asking me the limit offset. So I'm going to say my upper limit is level 2. What level it is in? So it is in level 1. Okay, I'm going to name this as my room 1 and apply. Now you see, as soon as I do this, it is automatically finding the boundaries. This is room 1, room 1, room 1. Okay, let's do this as room 1. So we have created 3 rooms in there. And just for fun, we'll create, to see, it says room is not properly an enclosed region. And we'll come to this. So what it did was, it did find rooms. It found 4 boundaries. So it enclosed a room into that. Now, if I go here and let's say I can rename it to room 2 and room 3. And this I want to just name as outside. Now, what is this? Basically, instead of this, I could have renamed this to office and name this to bedroom, which is what is happening these days. This is my bedroom and next door is my office. But yeah, and then let's say that's my favorite place in the house, kitchen. So these are the rooms, like we could name them, but these are the numbers that are given to that. We have an option to remove them. So if I select one of this, so what this is actually doing is, it's creating an imaginary bubble. It's creating a bubble with exact dimensions that we have given. So it's taking the boundary, plus it's taking the height from the level, the base level, and then it's taking the upper level. So, and what it does that it creates a volume. So if you go in here, you would find the area of this room, you would find perimeter, you would see an unbounded height. Now, can anybody tell me why is it not giving me a volume? Why the volume is not being computed? Good, that's a good reason. So Anmol says, Anmol Kamboj, she's, there is no ceiling provided. Cast floor and ceiling. Okay. So yeah, because we do not have a floor and the ceiling, that's why it's not computing the volume of that room. So to create the volume, we need all 4 boundaries. Now let's get to, okay, let me see what, so we did walls, we did some properties. We will do, we already did the modified, we did this. Okay. And we did editing families in the project. So we talked a little bit about this. Let's get to other kind of components that we can add. So this is just one door and window, but we can add furniture. We can add any other stuff. So place a component. Right now we have a desk that's preloaded. So I have a desk in there. There are other things. There is okay, there's a picture frame. The picture frame, the way it's been created is a hosted family. So it's looking for a wall or any face. So I created a picture frame and I put it in here. Let's also place, okay, a student one. Okay, if I want to rotate the size, I can hit the space bar and I can rotate the size. Now, if I go here, now what I want to do is if I want to see a 3D view, okay, first of all, I want to see a section of this. So what I would do is I would go here, I would select and I would cut the section. And if I go to view, now I can create the section right away. Who loves this command in Revit? That it's so easy to create a section anywhere in the building. I just love create. See, I love how amazingly we can create sections in Revit. Okay, almost everybody loves creating. See, I mean, if you really have to understand a building, you should know how to create the sections because that's actually getting into details. But the manual way of doing it is so laborious. This is one of the few ways I would never go back. One of the few reasons I would never go back to AutoCAD is that creating sections and 3D views and actually visualizing what I'm trying to design, it's so good in Revit that it's near to impossible for me to go back to AutoCAD. So we created a section in here. We can change the, we can go to detail, find detail, so I can see my little columns in here, the weird design that I created. I can also, let's say this was like half of the section, I want more. I can just extend this crop box and I can go to whatever section I need. And if, let's say I want a detail, what I would do is I would create a copy of this. So I would duplicate with detailing. And if let's say I want to create a detail somewhere here. So what I will do is I will go here. There is a detail I want to create in here. You know that we can actually go draw a detail line. And just draw whatever we want to draw in there. You really don't have to model. Let's say there's a detail that you wanted to show in here, but you do not actually want to model it. So you can just draw over it. You can use your 3D platform into drawing 3D details without actually modeling. And then if I want this detail at 1:10 scale. So now this is my 1:10 scale. I will what I can do is I can also hide them. So I can draw whatever I want. Okay, so this is how we will do details in Revit. Last thing is that what we want to do is using snaps. So who loves snaps in Revit? Like we snap to the center point, we snap to the mid, we snap to the end point. Who loves that in Revit, in AutoCAD? Yeah, snaps are they are very useful. Right now, if you in creating something accurate, if you see this, you see there are some dots in here. If I select this, I can actually drag my wall. See this? When I drag I see my wall, my door's gone. But let's say I want to select the end of something. There is something called snaps right in my manage tab. You have snaps in here. You can turn on and off the snaps you want. You can also change the lengths. So this works exactly the way it would work in AutoCAD. You can select the snaps you do not want, unselect the snaps you do not want. You can, let's say I want to pick up the middle of this wall. So if I go here, and there are shortcuts that you can remember. So let's say for midpoint, I think MD, sorry, SM is the command. So let's say here, I select this. Oh, what happened there? Select and modify. Okay, wait guys, I did something crazy in here. Just give me 1 second. Okay, perfect. Now let's say I want to move this wall, and now I want to pick up like exact middle. Instead of, you know, just going here, doing anything, I can just go SM and it will pick the middle. And so there are a few commands in there. You can go to snaps and you can see these commands. So there are SZ is for closing, SS is for turning and override. We'll get to, we can also turn on and off snaps in here. There are angular snaps, and these are shortcuts in here. Okay, now there is something called constraints. So what Revit does is that we can add constraints to our drawing. And remember when we were doing equidistant, equidistant grid, there was something like, there'll be a dialog box that you will just see. So right now, this EQ command is, the dimension equality is not there. If I go here, it says constraints are not satisfied. I would say remove constraints. So what it is saying is that in Revit, if I draw, if I dimension, okay, let's go here. If I dimension between any two elements and I lock them, these are now constrained. Okay, see this. Now if I go here, and if I select this, and let's say 6300. So, okay, wait, let me do it a little more drastic so that you guys can see. If I select this and let's do it 6500. So you see this grid moved, which means that I have created a relation between this grid and this grid. And because I dimensioned it, now these are constrained to each other. So these are constraints. These constraints will be very, very helpful when we create families. Since we are talking about families, I will show you that if I, and how these constraints work is that if I go here, I go to edit family in family environment, I'm going to go in elevations and front elevation. And you see how there is a height constraint. We can lock these constraints. You see, if you go here, there are some of these would be locked, some of them are unlocked. And let's say if I select one of this and I just change this to 90. So this is the frame thickness. See what happens. You see how the whole thing changed automatically. Let's see. Now I want to do it 150, which is like ridiculous, 6 inches thick frame. So because I had named this in a certain way and I've constrained them and I've named this constraint, everywhere where I named this, that thickness has increased. So this is a very, very interesting topic in Revit where we can create the families. We can put these constraints in any dimension. We will cover this as we go in detail with annotations, but constraints means that we are putting a condition in which two elements have a relation in terms of dimension. So let's say from this grid line to this grid line, it's 5,000 millimeters, or from this column to this column, it has to be 4,500 millimeters. So putting a condition on the dimensions or putting a relationship between two elements, that's called a constraint. And with this, I think we have covered everything that we were supposed to cover today. If you have any other questions, I am here. I can answer the questions. I would quickly remind you guys that if you want to see the recap of this, this webinar is being recorded. So I will edit some parts of it, some unwanted parts of it, and then I would put it on the YouTube channel that we have. and then eventually you can see them. So please, in the chat box, if you still haven't, just put in your email IDs so that I can see you guys. I will give access to you guys and you can look at those YouTube videos. So all those webs, but for that you will first have to go and subscribe the channel. Subscribe the channel. You will find a playlist that is GNDU Revit lessons. You will find last week's lesson in there, this week's, and all further 10 lessons. And but it's not for everybody. It's a private lesson. I'm doing it just for you guys. Even if you share a link with your friends and they subscribe, even then they would not be able to see it. Okay. Any questions? While creating levels, properties is supposed to show the name of the levels, but it isn't showing. It does show. Let's see. It does not show in your drawing. Anmol, you can unmute yourself and we can talk.
Yes, like yesterday I was making the levels and it didn't update on my property side. The list,
It did not?
No, it didn't.
Do you know how to create a GIF from your, while you're doing something? Do you know how to create a GIF?
No.
Okay, so send me the screenshot of exactly what you were doing. Okay, it should show. Let's say if I'm going here, let's go to an elevation. Let's go to an east elevation. And north. Okay, so let's create more levels. Architecture, level, let's create more levels. So you're saying that it was not updating in here, like you could not see the level here, or you in the properties?
Properties. I could see it on my on the page, but I couldn't see it on the properties.
Were your properties off or turned on, or they were turned off?
I mean, I could see the other two levels that were already sent by you, but I couldn't see the ones that I made. Like,
oh, yeah. That might be because of the crop region. So when you're in that region, when you're in that view, turn on the crop view and turn on crop region visible. So if, let's say now I created level 3. Now let's see if I crop my region down here. You see, now I cannot see the level that I was in. So maybe what you should do is go to your properties and turn on the crop view and turn on the crop region. And then
I thought that too, like maybe it's because of the crop view. So what I did was I created a mezzanine level and still it wasn't updated in the properties.
But did you turn them on? Did you do exactly?
Can you repeat how to do that? I didn't understand.
Okay. So what you do is, maybe you were seeing something like this, right? Now you have properties panel towards the left hand side.
Yeah.
So you see this extends on the left side. Can you see this? Hello?
Yeah.
So you can you see the extents?
Yes, I can.
Sometimes what happens is it's like this. So see if these are expanded. Then you have crop view. You turn the crop view on. And then you also turn the crop region so that you can see the boundary. Then you should be able to see it. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, try this. If this does not work, we can connect.
All right. Thank you.
No problem. Any more questions? Okay, thank you so much, guys. It is really nice. It would be nice if, at least on the last day, if we can all turn on our cameras and I can see you guys. Okay? Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Bye.